just may catch your pride. And may the best of your days be the worst of your tomorrows. Oh, and may the road less paved be the road that you follow. Oh, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have
Well. It's the weekend, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Life Lesson Station, everyone. And today I'm really excited because we have a really, really special show with us. Everybody, please welcome my friend Lisa Letwin to the show.
Hello,
welcome,
everyone.
Lisa. Lisa and I are coming live from beautiful Alberta, Canada, right? So Lisa and I met at work. We used to be in the military together, and we kept in touch. And now Lisa is going to be sharing some of her wisdom with the audience today. So Lisa, how you been?
I've been really good, thank you. Today's a little bit colder, so, has its ups and downs. However, it's still sunny, so that always makes it better. I am solar powered. I don't know about the rest of you.
Oh, I didn't know that. And did the car start?
I haven't had to try.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I'll just start quickly with a quick introduction for all of you that don't know Lisa. And and I forgot to say, if you have any questions and comments, please put them in the comment section. I want to welcome my friend Chantal. Hello, Chantal.
She's
I'm glad you're here.
Hello again, Chantal.
So good to see you. Okay, Lisa Letwin is a woman's sex and life coach. She helps women who have lost satisfaction and pleasure in sex understand their body is always talking to them and share the information and tools that teach them how to listen in a way to build a relationship. This results in more pleasure and satisfaction in and out of the bedroom. She blends warmth, knowledge, and insight with playfulness and curiosity. She has a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and has studied BodyTalk and Reiki. Lisa has been on a peacekeeping mission in Bosnia and has worked in a women's federal prison. She birthed her second child at home and has jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. Yes, she was skydiving. Lisa is not afraid to work herself out of a job because she always knows there will be something else. That's cool. She loves to geek out on science, really enjoys matcha tea lattes, and loves learning people's stories. Beautiful spaces are a thing, so she also enjoys DIY projects, decluttering, cleaning, and practicing a minimal lifestyle. Thank you for all you do, Lisa, to make this world a better place. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dana. It is so wonderful to be here.
Oh, it's good to have you. And let's do this. So can you tell everybody what led you to this work to become a woman's sex and life coach?
Well, as I'm sure many people have experienced in their lives, the path that leads us to where we are today is a long and winding one. So instead of going back all the way to when it probably first started, I'll talk specifically to what makes me most passionate about the body part of what I do. And that is when I got married in 1996, just a couple years ago, I had a yeast infection. And interestingly, now that I look back, that was the man and the only man that I ever experienced those kinds of infections with. But we're not taught that our body is always giving us information and feedback about the choices that we make in our lives. So if you're anything like me, I got really irritated back at her, bought the medication I needed and used it and got on with my life as quickly as I could, right? We love our bodies, but we love them when they're not any problem or challenge in our life.
Yeah.
So because I wasn't listening to her and getting more curious about what is she trying to tell me with all these infections, I remember distinctly, it was actually the last time my husband and I had sex. It was like there was a switch in my body, and she just walked up to the switch and turned it off. She's like, I'm out. This isn't working for me anymore. My husband and I never talked about that particular experience. Like I said, we never had sex again. And within 6 months, I had moved out. The relationship was over. And at the time, I had 2 young kids. And so I kept that part kind of shut off and just dove into being a mother. I was in survival mode. I put my head down. I'm like, I'm a mother. That's all I am. This is what's important to me. And then probably in about 2014, I started to feel that discontent, that longing for something more. I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, I feel like I've done a great job raising my kids to this point. I want to be more than just a mother.
Okay.
What's life like if maybe I considered having a partner in my life? My mom gave me a book, and I started following a sex educator because I'm like, yep, that's part of my life. Like I said, that I totally shut down. I started working with a coach who believed in me and who challenged me to write a partner into my vision, which was terrifying to me. I didn't want to make the same mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And I loved what the coach did. I love how coaches do the work they do. So I started thinking, how can I do this in the world? And then I was still following that sex educator. And I was like, how could I do this in the world? And then that sex educator released her Love, Sex, and Relationship program, certification program. And my whole body was, hell yes, we need this. Okay. So even if I didn't do this by coaching other people, I knew I needed this, and this information
was part of your journey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in taking that program, I learned about my body's agency and voice. I learned that even though I was always blaming my husband, she had lost trust in me. I had broken our trust. Okay. It did have to do with my relationship with my husband at the time, but that was a pretty small piece. It was more important as how I was treating my body and how I was listening to her. So yeah, go ahead.
My friend is saying our body's very wise. Indeed.
Absolutely.
Very true.
And we are not, it's a language we're not taught, right? Yeah. We're taught English. We might learn a second or third language, but we're not taught how our body speaks to us. And yeah, she always is. So now that I've done the training, I want to share this with everybody who's willing to listen. And yeah, so maybe some of your listeners today are the people who, I'm sharing the right message for them, and we can walk along beside each other for a while.
Chantal, it says, what you say, he, she, her, please elaborate.
Do you mean by my name? If you mean by my name, I'm talking about pronouns. So yeah, just because I look like a woman doesn't mean that those are the pronouns that describe me. But for me, what you see on the outside is how I identify.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you
well.
For that.
Yeah.
So what are one or two things you wish every woman would know?
There are so many. The very first thing, other than the fact that your body has wisdom, I think the very first thing I'd want every woman to know is that you're not broken, you're not odd, and you're not in denial. The way we've been taught about our sexuality and about sex is largely based on the male model. And often we are looked at as male light, and we're not. So, for example, if you talk to a man, he will tell you that when it's time for sex, nothing else matters in his life. All those other compartments, the doors are closed. Okay. But as a woman, what happened at work matters. Yeah. What's happening in our close relationships, if we have a sick child or a sick parent, matters. It all flows into itself and will affect how easily we can access being. Yeah.
What
It
language,
can feel like
Loretta?
our body speaks a
What
foreign
foreign language? Hola. No. Very good.
And we can
Yeah.
all learn it. Absolutely. We can be very fluent in body language. Yeah. So if women understood that what we've largely been taught is looking at through a male lens, then we'll understand that even though we may feel broken, or we may feel odd or different or weird, plus we don't talk about it necessarily with each other, right? Those things that if we think we're odd or weird or it's shameful, we're largely not going to talk about those things with our friends, right? I feel like when women get together and talk about sex or sexuality, it's more the surface stuff and the safe stuff, or the things we can easily joke about. But the things that are the most painful, even if we can talk about it with a friend, they don't know the answer either. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
Yes. Yeah. Society has taken away our feminine power. We need to reclaim it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And I want to add to the power piece is that in my experience, a lot of times when I hear the word power, I think of it as power over someone. And that's not the power we're talking about here. We're talking about the power that we have within us to create the life we desire.
Yeah, I have an example for that.
Cool, go for it.
Okay, so for me, taking back my power is making my own decision and living the life like I made that decision. For example, if I choose to do a certain hobby, everybody's got an opinion. That's nice, but I'm going to make the decision because I'm going to own it. And if I crash, I'll crash. It's a victory, then I win. But I find that's a big part is I don't allow other people's opinion and suggestion to rule my life anymore. So I take back my power that way. So I guess in the bedroom, you can take back your power by, are we going to
explaining what you like?
Yeah.
By saying, you know what, actually, I don't like that.
Yes.
If this is something that's important to you, maybe I'm willing to do it a little bit, but I don't like it enough to continue doing it. Yeah. I think that the biggest way that a woman can take back power in the bedroom is to have a self-pleasure practice or a solo sex practice or a masturbation practice, whichever word you like to use, where you really get to know your body and without anybody else being in the room to distract you, because largely women are people pleasers. So it's very easy to be more focused on the other person. So when we have a practice like that we do regardless of whether we're in relationship with somebody else or not, who else totally stops their solo sex practice when they have a partner? I should raise this hand because you can probably see it easier. I do all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not up to my partner to provide me with the satisfaction. They can be a part of it. I can choose to share that piece with them, that connection, that intimacy, and sex, and specifically penetrative sex, isn't the only way to experience that. But I need to fill my cup first. And so how do I do that? And then when I know how to do that, when I come together in partnership, I can have a conversation with my partner about it. Is it going to be easy? If you've never done it before, no, it won't. But if this is the right partner, you guys can fumble through it together and it'll be such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Just like starting over in life, like I'm going through it, and I think you had to start over, is you build your life from the right foundation up. So might as well start with a healthy conversation with your partner on all subjects, including intimacy, right?
Yeah.
So just make it happen. Because you can only not be yourself for so long, right?
Yeah, like, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's you can't do it. So might as well be yourself from the get-go and have those conversations.
And as a wise man once told me, when you start dating, especially with women, remember that you are getting the best version of the other person. So if this best version is not cutting it, their best version is going to slow down over time, right? Because you're trying to show your best you.
Yes.
Right? So if that person's best is not what you need, know that over time, they're going to go back to wherever their normal is.
Okay.
So know that, and don't keep seeing the potential in the person.
Oh man.
Because you can't guarantee that potential will ever be achieved.
Yeah.
Do not date the potential, date the person.
That's
be in
why
relationship with the person.
What a good reminder. Is there any other things that you wish every woman know before we continue on with the other question? Is there any other must-knows for women?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love this one. It's called Arousal Non-Concordance. So get your
Oh.
scientist's coat on and your nerdy glasses. I don't wear glasses anymore, so I can't. Basically, what that means is that, like, there have been studies done. It means that you can be turned on in your head, but your body doesn't see whatever's happening as sexually relevant.
Oh.
When your body does, it'll be turned on, it'll be wet, it'll be aroused.
Yeah.
But you have to listen to what's in your head, because that's where arousal happens more. And they only agree about 10% of the time in women. So if a man says, or if you've seen, they talk about it all the time. If you read books, if you watch media, oh, you're so wet, you must be so aroused. And she could be, actually, I'm horrified by what's happening right now. But for whatever reason, the body is registering it as sexually relevant. So a good example I have is, it's from a book I read where it was some BDSM stuff. So she was tied up, and there was if I remember correctly, like a bar between her legs. So it was pressing against her vulva, her genitalia. Now, genitalia are largely for sex. So touching it mostly for women, is perceived as sexually relevant. So she was really wet when her partner came back, but she was not wet here. She was like, I am bored out of my skull. Like, this does not turn me on at all. And he's like, but what do you mean? You're so wet. She's like, so tell your partner that what's up here, what you tell him, matters way more than what the body says. And if here's turned on, but the body's not, use more lube. You can buy lube. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It just means your body hasn't learned that this is a sexually relevant event.
I'm shocked to hear it's only 10% sometimes.
10%. And it's 50 in men. So there's a lot, it's more significant, but even in men, 50% of the time, they'll be turned on up here, but not in their genitals, or turned on in their genitals, but not in their head. So it's a thing. It's real. That's why you're not broken. I'm so
glad you came on the show to shed some light on all these things, because I mean, maybe everybody knows in the audience, but I didn't know about the correlation, the percentage. So thank you for sharing that. Any question that occurred to you based on what we've talked about, or maybe question? Oh, sorry, never mind that. I'm reading my notes. That's so funny. How can people work with you?
It's brilliant. There are a couple of different ways.
Yes.
I do one-on-one work. And so you can email me directly at lisa@lisaletwin.com if you want to have a 45-minute, I call it a sustainably sexy session. That's the way to have a conversation with me, so I can tell you more about the work I do and find out if we're a good fit. But then I have some nice, beautiful, if you're not really sure, you're kind of leaning in, but you're leaning back. You don't necessarily want to work one-on-one. I have an hour-long class, so it's more me just giving you information like what we're doing today. And I've called that Lifting the Lid on Libido.
Oh, that's a good name.
And if you follow me on...
quite good, actually. Yeah.
Thank you. And so if you go to Instagram, it's in my bio, because I've created a wait list for it. And then I also have hour and a half long workshop. So that one is a little bit of information, and then you do some work or a meditation, work or meditation. That one I call solo sexuality, the playground of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm percolating, brewing probably a 6-week program. It hasn't coalesced yet, but I'm slowly bringing the pieces together, and I'm hoping by the middle of the year that I'll have something. Oh, that's a great question.
Yes.
So stress, and I actually wrote this down, so I've got some more stats for you. Stress decreases interest in sex in 80 to 90% of people. So people, not just women.
That's
and it
huge.
decreases sexual pleasure in everyone. So to put this a different way, the way the body, so if everybody knows about the stress response, there's the fight or flight response, right? And that is the sympathetic part of our nervous system. We're going to get really geeky again. Then there's the sympathetic part of our nervous system, which is the rest and digest part of our nervous system. I like to call it the rest, digest, and sex part of our nervous system.
Okay.
So if we're in stress, our body's in fight or flight. It thinks we're going to die. And if we're going to die, is there time for sex and making babies?
Just like 5 minutes tops. No,
there isn't, because if you're going to die as a woman, especially, you can't just state a baby.
No.
So stress is like breaks all the reasons not to have sex. And the breaks, this is kind of, I don't know how much information to give, but the breaks are all the reasons not to have sex. And the breaks are a bigger indicator of sexual problems. Because the way we're taught in the past, right? Everybody's always like, how can I press the accelerator more? How can I rev that up more? But we didn't know until I was 1998 that the system maybe has, if all other systems have accelerators and brakes, maybe our arousal response has accelerators and brakes. So yeah, sure, you can be pressing on the accelerator to your heart's content, but if your foot's on the brake as well, what happens in a car? Nothing. You just burn out the tires.
Yeah.
There's no satisfaction. There's no pleasure.
Oh man. Everything's affected. What you eat, what you think, what you feel, what you do, like you name it.
Yeah. And so self-talk can be very stressful too. So negative self-talk is a break for all the reasons not to have sex.
Okay, so your top advice to what, like, to part of the solution, what can you do to be part of the solution is after joining your workshops and your
stress,
just to have a better relationship with your body, with like, where do you start the journey? Like,
I think to some degree it depends on every person, but knowing the times we live in, and frankly, knowing that stress is always there. When our brains were developing, stress was like a saber-toothed tiger. We could run away from it, then we could either live or die and talk about it around the fire. Now stress is like constant. So I would say the biggest thing would be to learn how to diffuse or resolve this, or complete the stress cycle. So our body wants to complete this cycle. It wants to finish it so it can go back to rest, digest, and sex. But often we have to freeze it because it wouldn't be right to punch our boss in the face. It wouldn't be right to run away from a presentation, right? So we press pause. And it's okay to press pause as long as hopefully later in the day, you can press play again and finish it. So lots of times doing physical labor, physical fitness will complete it because it's fight or flight, right? We're either running towards something or running away. So physically moving our body helps move that stress through our body. And it can't really be a mental activity. It has to be more a physical activity. It might be crying. It might be screaming. It might be stroking your body, reminding your body that you're safe. It might be giving yourself a hug or asking somebody to give you a hug. There are quite a few things, but it it's more effective if it's body-based, that you bring the body along, that the body can feel that it's safe. Because just saying it's safe, we talked about the language of our body.
Yeah.
It's sensations, those feelings in our body, the drop in the pit of our stomach, the aches and pains that we get, when you feel your heart expand, that's a sensation. That's your body telling you something. Your excitement butterflies, right, can be either fear or excitement. You can interpret it however you want, but that's a sensation in the body. That's how the body communicates. So
I love your approach. It's a new one for me, because the one I was familiar with is more like the 3 A's. When there's stress, you can avoid, allow, or accept. And I never really spent too much time thinking of which one is, I usually went I pick my go-to.
Yeah, of course.
I like your approach where you process it and you can pause it and then you finish it doing something active. Or my friend Chantal says you can walk in nature.
Absolutely.
And that really helps too.
Yep.
So that's
because
awesome.
Again, if you're going to take a walk in nature, it probably means you're safe. Like grooming. If you love taking baths, animals that are stressed or in danger, they're not going to stop to groom. Or even making a beautiful meal and really slowing down and enjoying it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're not. So think of rest, digest, taking a nap.
Oh, yes.
Can do it, because an animal who is in imminent danger of dying will not be able to sleep. So do the things to the best of your ability. Could be meditation if sleep's not coming, or even just lying still. Like I can think of so many times where I can feel the anxiety in my body and I feel it as restlessness. And even though I want to slow down, there's something telling me I need to keep going. But if I take the time to really pause and just put everything down, and instead of trying to listen to another podcast or read a book, or if I just stare at the fireplace or watch the clouds go by in the sky.
Yeah.
Right. Those are things that an animal in danger would never do, because they're looking for danger. They're scanning the environment for danger.
Yeah. They're bracing for impact. Eh?
Yeah.
There's a nice picture, everybody, of Lisa walking in nature. You look so nice there. You look like at peace. I love that picture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Walking
and then,
is one of my happy places.
Okay, what's going on here, Lisa?
I'm pretending to learn to pole dance.
Oh.
This was my birthday in 2017. I thought it was a good idea to have a pole dancing birthday party. Unless you're physically fit and your friends are too. We had to stretch, and I think we even did push-ups as the warm-up. I'm like, this is not a celebration. I hurt myself.
Oh no. You look like a natural. You look like you know what you're doing.
It was totally fun. Oh my gosh, I look so rickety. I mean, if you would have had the instructor beside me doing her thing, yeah, it would have been just hilarious. I mean, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I do highly recommend it. And it's another great way for a woman to really get in touch with her body.
Oh, no.
Because we're taught that moving a certain way is for somebody else's gaze. But doing pole dancing, heck, do it for you.
Yes.
Do it for loving your body, for being strong in your body, for feeling like being able to move well and maybe even sexily. It certainly doesn't happen in a 60-minute pole dance party.
See, she's blowing kisses here. You can blow yourself kisses and say, I love you. You look super cute. Give yourself some love. Mwah. Every day, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So Lisa, we're already at 29 minutes, so we're going to start wrapping the show. But I had more. Okay, so one more question, and then your group classes. Everybody, does anybody need to get naked or masturbate during the group?
Yeah. I've gotten that question so many times. It's like I need to have it as a disclaimer at the top of the page.
Go ahead.
It is not required at all. There is no explicit sexuality or nudity in any of the work that I do.
There you go. So everybody, I'm going to put it in the comments section. Can you tell us about the link that I'm showing right now to everybody?
Yeah. So this is for my newsletter, but you'll also get the love and safety meditation, which again is a beautiful meditation to take you out of the stress response. It's about giving your body love and telling your body that it's safe. It's about, I think, 8 minutes long. And then there's a sequence of emails you'll get kind of to introduce you more to me and the work I do. I check in with you if you've done the meditation or not. And if you stick in till the end, there are a couple other gifts at the end of that. And then from there, if you want to be the first to receive information, whether I'm reminding you of something you already knew but maybe forgot, or sharing some of these statistics about women's sexuality, it's there in the newsletter.
Awesome. I'm going to sneak in one more comment before we go from Loretta. So for me, an enjoyable sexual experience is with my partner, part of more encompassing love experience. Foreplay is being loving all day.
I totally agree, Loretta. I read something that said that foreplay is something that happens after the last orgasm. And again, I feel that's a little too goal oriented. I think foreplay happens all the time, right? It's the quality of the relationship you have either with yourself or with the other person. Because then it lets you know, are we ready to take it further? Is sex going to be what happens? Well, beautiful, Loretta. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thanks, Loretta. And I want to thank everybody who participated in the comment section and watched the show today. And I want to especially thank my guest, Lisa, for taking the time to come on the show and share some of your wisdom and have a conversation about sex and intimacy and life coaching, all that good stuff. So everybody, please reach out to Lisa and check her out on her social media. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Stay warm.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, take care. Nice to see you, Lisa. Yeah. And if you can stick by, I'll say goodbye after the show. Just stick around, Lisa, and I'll say goodbye to everybody. Okay, have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.
Bye.